What am I looking at here? This, ladies and gentlemen, is plastic that was in a spinet piano. And as you can see, it is uber fragile and not good when you find it in pianos. Let's talk about it. Well, hi, Brian Janey here, the piano appraiser. And on this channel, we talk about the do's and don'ts of piano care, buying and selling pianos, as well as various scenarios regarding their appraisal. And today, we're talking about this business of, yes, plastic in pianos. I was prompted to sort of do a video about this after I had an encounter with someone over the phone and through pictures who had acquired an old console from probably the late 1950s. And he said that there were problems with notes that were ringing all the time. And I sort of asked him for pictures and I knew what he was going to send me. There were plastic parts in the action, the parts that move, that, throw the hammer and all of that. In particular, there were plastic parts on the dampers, which is basically the little felt piece and a spring that goes against the string to stop it from ringing. And, during the 1940s through the early 60s, there was a lot of excitement and cost savings for piano makers, particularly with lower end instruments, in using plastic parts in the piano. And the thing is, back in those days, they didn't know how to make catalysts, or how to use catalysts, I should say. So what ends up happening is, initially it's fine. No problem. But the catalyst continues to harden the plastic. And as it aged, it got worse and worse and even more brittle. And eventually what you have is a piano that has, if anybody plays it with any force or a technician is in there tuning it and hitting those keys real hard to set the strings, what's going to happen is that plastic's going to start breaking. And it's not good. So the cautionary tale here is, in falling in love with the old consoles and spinets from that era, 1940s to the 1960s, be uber cautious. Have somebody come out and look at it, a local piano technician, registered piano technician, somebody that's been around a while and knows about these things and is capable of helping you to understand whether or not the piano has that kind of plastic in it. Because nowadays, they do actually use a lot of plastic parts in pianos. In fact, I have one of Wessel, Nickel, and Gross's. You can't hardly see that because my black shirt against this black plastic part. But these are pretty awesome. They're much lighter. This is actually the whippin', which is like the transmission between the key and the hammer that throws it on a grand piano action at the string. And you can see the big difference. This is a wooden one, and this is one made out of ABS parts. These are made much differently. Obviously, the technology has advanced incredibly. And, in most new Mason and Hamlin grand pianos, they have these action parts and they play wonderfully. In fact, there's a lot of technicians out there that are replacing those when they're doing rebuild jobs and so forth like that. And in many instances, outside of the business of Steinway. Careful about the ABS in Steinway. Because when you go to resell that thing, if it's got ABS parts in it, wow, you're going to have a little bit harder time for all those Steinway connoisseurs out there that want to understand that it's got original Steinway parts, or it has at least Renner parts in it, which are the wooden ones. So at any rate, very short video compared to my usual, but just be careful when it comes to plastic parts in pianos, particularly from that vintage. They are sketchy. And in many instances, in fact, in all instances, I actually, with this gentleman over the phone, performed last rites on his piano on the phone, just because anything and everything that might be undertaken with him there is just going to be cost prohibitive. It would be wildly too expensive to go in there and replace all those parts. And he'd still, afterwards, have a very old piano with some really weak DNA in the first place because it was kind of a low-end instrument when it left the factory. So at any rate, I hope that's helpful. And yeah, if you like these videos, subscribe. What a concept. It doesn't cost anything and it's super handy for me. And if you have any questions about any of this stuff, feel free to get a hold of me. My information is in the description of circumstance in the video. And I look forward to being of service. Be in touch if you need to be. Brian Janey, the piano appraiser. Thanks.